Okay, we're ready to go. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So what I did was we put together this front part of the bag last week. And so what we're gonna do now, and also I thought I'd let you know, I did top stitching on it last time and I did it in white and I didn't like it. So I ripped it out and I did it in black so that it matches the fabric and it doesn't look funny with the two white lines on the fabric. So it looks a little different from the last time you saw it. But that's what I did with that. And then this is our back piece of the bag. And it has the piece of Peltex inside. And I pressed that to the back side of the back of the bag. And then on the front, I put the other piece and I pinned it and I quilted it with like a hash mark kind of quilting, or what do you call this? Diagonal, whatever. Anyway, so diagonal quilting, and I think it looks really cute. I'll get it close. Maybe you guys can see. You can see it better on the back probably. So I really like, when I'm making bags, I like to do this kind of quilting because I think it looks really cute on a bag to have the diagonal lines quilted in. So that's the reason I did that. And when I put my front on, you can see the diagonal quilting through the vinyl, which I think looks really cute. So I just thought I'd show you how I do that because it's really simple. And if you're a new quilter or a new bag maker, maybe you've never done it before. So I just thought I'd show you really quick how to do that before we finish doing the bag. Hi, Vicki. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Steph. Crosshatch, there you go. Great, thanks, Steph. Okay, so just to show you how I do the cross hatching, thank you for reminding me what that was called. I just take my big ruler and it's got all of these markings, all of these diagonal markings on it. I use the 45-degree angle and whatever size tape I have. So I didn't have any painter's tape. Normally I use 1.5-inch painter's tape, but I didn't have any. I had this washi tape and the washi is 1 1/4. So that's what I'm using. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my 45-degree angle and my 1 1/4 line, which is right here. And I go all the way to the corner and I line up my 45-degree angle along the bottom of my piece. And then the 1 1/4 inch mark right here. So this is 1 1/4 in, and it's along the line of the 45 degrees. And then I just take my tape, and like I said, normally I use painter's tape when I do this, but washi tape works too. And I just take my tape and I just lay it right there on the fabric, just like that. And then I measure over another 1 1/4 inches, and I take another piece of tape and I put it down. And then I just sew quilt on each side of the tape all the way across. So I mark it every other, so there would be tape here, then tape here, then tape there, then there, and I just leave, you know, the space in between because you don't need to put tape all the way along. Anyway, so I go all the way across and I sew down this side and down this side all the way across, and then I peel the tape off and I keep it because it will work going the other direction. And then I just turn it and do the same thing, 1 1/4 all the way along, sew on both sides of the tape, and then you have your crosshatch quilting done. And you can use the same pieces of tape so you're not wasting the tape on the second direction. So that's how I did the quilting on this. Now, what I'm going to do is, so you have two choices here. It depends on what you prefer. I am doing this out of liberty and I think it's precious. And so I really want to do something a little more special with this. So I'm going to make a binding for this. So all I'm going to do with this is put it together like this, put a binding on like I would on a quilt all the way around. and then sew it down by hand because I want it to look really pretty and nice. And I think when I bind, doing it by hand looks better. So that's what I'm going to do with this. So you have other choices. What you could do is flip your front over and just sew all the way around with a zigzag stitch, flip it out, and your bag is done. And then it's just turned, and you can turn it through the zipper. So that's an easy way to do it if you don't want to do any handwork or you don't want to do binding. And the other thing you can do is go ahead and bind it, but bind it with the machine. So sew it down with the machine and then sew the binding, the second part of the binding with your machine as well. But I'm going to do it by hand, and I am going to show you how I bind it. So if you guys already know how to do a quilt binding, you don't need my tutorial on this. We're done with the bag basically. I know. I thought there was more to do after we put the front together, but the front was actually the hard part. So this is the easy part. So I'm going to go ahead and put the binding on, and I'm going to show you how I do that just in case you are new to quilting or binding, so that you will know how to do it. But other than that, if you've bound something before and you don't need my help, you can just run along and go ahead and make your little pieces if you want to. I sent out in the email for the club today, I sent out the directions for the different pieces, what size pieces I used. So you have that. If you need it and didn't get it, it's in the original, the first video, or just message me and I can send you a link for it. And I am looking for my, hold on just a sec. I'm looking for my clips. So I'm going to use clips on this because it's vinyl. Again, I don't want to put pins through my vinyl. So I'm going to use Wonder Clips to hold this together, hold my binding on. So what I'm using for binding is a 2 1/4 inch piece that I folded in half. And I did do bias binding for this. It doesn't need to be bias because it's square, but I decided to do bias just to be fancy because I want it to be fancy. And actually, I'm not going to be able to do this anyway because I have to do the corners. So clipping is silly. Never mind. Won't do that. We'll just go ahead and start sewing. Oh, no, I do want to clip. I changed my mind. But I'm just going to clip the bottom parts. I'm not going to clip the binding down because I do want to hold it together so it doesn't shift. Vinyl likes to shift because it's slippery. And the one other thing you're going to want to do, and I forgot to mention that, and I'm sorry, your front piece is going to be about a ½ inch big. I did that on purpose because when you're doing all of these seams, putting your seams for your zipper in and doing your binding and doing your seams on the top and the bottom, sometimes things get a little smaller. So I made it a little bit long. It's a ½ inch long, and you're going to want to cut it down to your 12-inch square as your back is. So cut your front piece down to the right size. Sorry, I forgot to mention that originally. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go over to the sewing machine and start sewing the binding on. Hi, Shelly. I don't have a problem sewing it by hand, Steph. The Peltex doesn't seem to adhere super hard, so I just use it. I just use a regular needle, and it works just fine. I just pick up the top layer of the fabric. I don't have any problem with it. Oops, got to switch over to the sewing machine view. There we go. So I always start sewing on the left side of any project because people's eyes don't look there. So anytime you have something where you need to do a join, and this is going to have a join because that's where the binding is, you always start on the left side. And I'm just going to sew a 1/4 inch seam. And because we're using vinyl, if I was just going to sew straight on top of the vinyl, I would switch my sewing machine foot out to a Teflon foot because the vinyl is sticky on your sewing machine foot and it makes it hard to sew. But because I have the binding in between the vinyl and the foot, it's not a problem. But if I was sewing directly on the vinyl, I would switch to a Teflon foot so that it wouldn't stick to the vinyl. And you know what? I'm not giving myself enough space here. Hold on. I want to go way up here because I want to have lots of space for doing the join later. There we go. So I'm just sewing along. I'm giving myself a lot of space here and leaving a big tail so that I can join this later. I'm sewing up to the corner. I'm a 1/4 inch away from the edge of my piece, and I'm stopping at a 1/4 inch away. And then I'm going to lift my presser foot, turn my piece. I'm going to back stitch off of the edge, and then I'm going to cut my thread. Now I'm going to take my binding and I'm going to flip it straight up. It's funny, I haven't shown anybody how to do a binding in so long. So I flipped it straight up so that it looks like it's going straight along that edge. And then I've got a little triangle I'm making right here. And now I'm going to flip it straight down. So that it's going straight across the top and straight down the side. And then I'm ready to start again. I'm sewing straight down to the other edge, and I'm stopping a 1/4 inch away. Lift my presser foot, sew off the edge. Flip it up again. Flip it back down. And now I'm ready to go again. And I'm just going to go all the way around doing the same thing on each corner. sorry I can't see if you guys are asking questions while I'm sewing, but I will look just as soon as I'm up from the sewing machine. I didn't go very far. I didn't go quite far enough there. Hold on. And then I went too far. No, it's good. Okay. Okay, so this is the fourth side. So I'm just going to go a little ways. A little bit. Stop. Okay, so now what I need to do is get a pin. Actually, I'm going to switch back over to the other camera because it'll be easier for you guys to see this. Okay, I'm reading your comments. Hold on just a sec. Hey Karen, I would suggest, I use a normal stitch length when I'm sewing, but for the quilting part, I use a 3, probably about a 3mm. The dog fabric, Catherine Rowe, isn't it cute? Shelly, no, I'm not going to write directions. I mean, if you think you need some, I probably could, but it's kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of a simple thing, so I didn't feel like it really needed directions written. Okay, so that was the only questions you had. Now I'm going back to my project here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little pin. I'm not putting it through the vinyl again because I don't want to mess it up. I'm just putting it in the back part, and it's just as a marking place right in the middle. Because this is 2 1/4 inches. I'm going to measure 1 1/8. That's half of what the width is because this is 1 1/8 wide when I fold it like this. And I'm going to make a mark at, oh, other side. So this is the top part, or this is the binding coming down from the top. So I'm marking that 1 1/8 away from where the pin is. And then doing the same thing for the one coming up from the bottom. You're going past the pin and then marking it. Now I'm going to cut it off. For all of you ladies who have done a million bindings, this is probably old hat, but there are quite a few ladies who are new to quilting and have never done binding before. So now we're just going to take these, and you want them to be diagonal, a diagonal seam when you put them together. And now I always forget when I put them together which direction I want the diagonal to go. So I do a test. I've got right sides together of the two ends, and I'm putting my pin in diagonally, and I'm going to see if when I lay it down, it's going the right direction. Is that right? I don't think so. So that's why I always have to do this. I always have to test it out to make sure it's going the right way. I think it goes this way actually. Yep, like that. So watch, I'll do it and it'll come out wrong anyway. Okay. So I have the right sides together. I'm hoping you guys can see that. And I'm going to sew diagonally this way. Yeah, I always mess it up. I'll probably end up, oh, hold on. I'll probably end up having to switch it. I'll sew it and it'll be wrong, and then I'll have to switch it. We'll see. Maybe I'll do a, just do a basting stitch to make sure that I have it right to start with. The other thing is getting it underneath the sewing machine. Without it getting all messed up. And that's the other thing this tape is good for too, doing the diagonal on the binding. Okay, I'm going to baste it first just to be sure I'm going the right direction. Okay, did I get it right? Yes, it looks right. Okay. Sorry for my doggy doorbell. Okay. So oh yeah, I mean really. Best thing to do is just try it out first. Okay, so it's all fixed and the binding's done. Now I'm just going to finish sewing it down, and then I am going to hand stitch it to the back and it will be all done, but I'm not going to have you watch me do that part. So let me just do this. I'm going to flip it out just so you can kind of see what the front's going to look like. And then I'm going to show you, these are the pieces that your projects can stick to, and they will go down into the zipper like this. And this can flip over the top of them. And then they're ready to go. And you can put thread in there, and you can put your needles in there, and you can put your needle minder in there and carry it around with you. And then you won't be carrying around a Ziploc bag like I have been. A gallon-sized Ziploc bag with all of your stitching in it. That's what I've been doing. Anyway, I think this is going to be so, so cute when it's all finished. I can't wait. And I'll have something cute to carry my things around in. So I hope you liked it. And it was just something I thought up on the fly last week. So, but I think it came out really cute. And so I hope you like it. And I hope you have fun with it. And I will see you on Thursday. And in the meantime, I am putting you guys' boxes together. I'm just reading all you guys' comments. Yep, doggy doorbells. I have 2 of them. They're great for the Amazon guy. Actually, that was the Amazon guy. So that was the Amazon doorbell. Okay, talk to you guys later. And see you on Thursday for bingo. Don't forget bingo. Bring your projects and show us your things that you've made, because I want to see some show and tell on Thursday. Yep, it'll be fun, Jenny. There's some neat stuff in the boxes this month. Okay, talk to you later. Bye, ladies.